have to explain very long why we are here. We all are here because we know that the climate crisis is one of the greatest threats of human security. And therefore, we decided by consensus as member states 10 years ago to counter it together by achieving global net zero greenhouse gas emissions, by scaling up renewable energy, and by ensuring energy access for all, while supporting a just transition that advances the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. It seems like decades ago, it was only in 2015, and the good thing is that in between these years, so much has happened. However, we also all know that this shared aspiration has not yet resulted in the speed and coordination we need, and actually it could, given the modern forms of technology. Still, too much is done in silos. Too often finance does not flow to where it must need it. In fact, I recall during my first days here as a president of the General Assembly, when I had the honor of receiving the Prime Minister of a small island developing state, which was facing the challenge in securing finance for large wind turbines. And she was saying, you know, we only need 5. We talked to so many other member states. Yeah, can you just organize the turbines? Because they would have simply ensured the whole energy and the whole electricity grid to be 100% renewable. But this lack of matching, I think, is what we have to address mostly, because the answers are all there, but the matching is missing. Because not there's really a lack of finance, but the failure to match with these projects and infrastructure investments for some countries are even that the projects are too little. So actually that you need too little finance to actually implement it or attract bigger investors. So much of this is because many of the most important financial discussions take place through separate, fragmented processes, in which, for instance, 35 finance ministers working through the COP30 Circle of Finance Ministers under UNFCCC, last time in Belém, they meet, they agree on solution, but these discussions are not necessarily reflected then here again when we consider in these rooms the Sevilla commitments, or when member states engage in DC separately with international finance institutions. And therefore, I'm grateful that today, as said, the Executive Secretary of the UNFCCC, the Director General of IRENA, and the Special Advisor to the Secretary General on Climate Action and Just Transitions are here with us today, Your Excellencies and distinguished delegates, because we want to bring the topic of clean energy security to the heart of multilateralism and to increase the coordination across institution processes and centers of decision-making exactly here also at the General Assembly.